For the last case, we have case 4, given the general form of equation of an ellipse. So for the general form of equation of an ellipse, we have ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus ey plus f that is equals to 0, where a, b, d, e, and f are constants. For our standard form of equation of an ellipse, we have quantity of x minus h squared over a squared plus quantity of x or y minus k squared that is equals to over b squared that is equals to 1, or we have quantity of x minus h squared over b squared plus quantity of y minus k squared over a squared that is equals to 1. We have here example: find the standard equation and sketch the graph of each of the following ellipse. For number 1, we have 4x squared plus 25y squared minus 100 that is equals to 0. For number 2, we have 9x squared plus 16y squared minus 54x plus 64y plus 1 that is equals to 0. For our first example in case 4, we have here 4x squared plus 25y squared minus 100 that is equals to 0. And finding for the standard equation of an ellipse, given the general form, i-reduce lang nato siya. Just like katong sa circle and also sa tawagan ni sa parabola. So, i-reduce lang natin siya. Now, ang first step in reducing the general form of equation into a standard form of equation is to transpose the constant to the right side of the equation. So, we'll have 4x squared plus 25y squared. This is equals to c minus 100 transpose. So, we'll have 100. Ang sunod na step ani is to divide whatever the value or the number nga constant nga naa sa right side, i-divide nato siya on both sides of the equation. Because remember that ang standard equation is, di ba, 1 lang man dapat ang naa dire, constant 1. So, we have to divide both sides by 100. Pwede put 1 time, i-multiply na to 1 over 100. But in this case, i-divide lang nato tanang terms by 100. Okay, so simplify. We have 4x squared divided by 100. Constant, si 4 divided by 100 will have x squared all over 25. Because 4 over 100 is 1 over 25. Tama? So, 1 over 25 times x squared, that is x squared over 25. Plus, we have 25y squared divided by 100. That would be y squared over 4. This is equals to 100 divided by 100 is equal to 1. So, nanatay standard form of equation. So, the standard form of equation of the ellipse, which has the general form, that is 4x squared plus 25y squared minus 100 that is equals to 0, is x squared over 25 plus y squared over 4 that is equals to 1. Okay, so we already have our standard form of equation. Ang next step ani is to graph, no? To graph our ellipse. So, ang first na makuha nato ani are the values of the center or the coordinates of the center, the value of A, distance A, the value of distance B. Remember that our standard form of equation, kung ani, 25 man ang mas dako kaysa kay 4. We have x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared that is equals to 1. So, since wala man tayo makitaan na minus h and minus k dire, automatic, paging ana, the center will be located at the origin. Because x squared can be written as x minus 0 squared, di ba? Equal lang muna sila. And y squared can be written as y minus 0 squared. So in this case, ang center nato will be at 0 and 0. Okay, next we have a squared, which is 25. So if our a squared is 25, to get the a, square root lang nato. So we have a that is equals to 25, square root of 25, that is 5. So we'll have a that is equals to 5. For b, okay, same. We have b squared that is equals to 4. To get the value of our b, square root lang. So we have square root of 4, we have 2. So our b is 2. Okay, we now have the center, distance A, distance B. Pwede na nato pangitaon ang ubang points. So, for vertex, for V or vertex or vertices, okay, kung tanaw na to ang graph or tanaw na to ang tawag ani ang ato ang standard form of equation, since ang a squared na to is nasa x term, okay, ang denominator, okay, how did we determine na a squared di siya? Because again, a is always greater than b. So, meaning a squared is always greater than b squared. So, since dako man ang 25 kaysa sa 4, automatic si 25 siya ang ato ang a squared. So, since ang a squared nato is under or the denominator of the x term, meaning ang ato ang graph sa ellipse will be horizontal. So, since horizontal man ta, okay, horizontal, therefore, our vertices will be horizontal pod. Or meaning, from the center, ang i-move lang nato will be the x coordinate, no? So, again, our center, we have 0 and 0. Then, the distance from center to each vertices, we have a that is equals to 5. So, we'll have 0 plus minus 5. That is, we have 0. Okay, we have v sub 1. That is 5 and 0. And v sub 2. That is negative 5 and 0. Okay, so na natin vertices. Next, for CV or our co-vertices. Okay, so again, we have the center at 0 and 0. And we also have the distance B. That is the distance from the center to each endpoint of our, or each co-vertices, no? That is 2. So, since ang ato ang vertex or vertices is horizontal, perpendicular man ang co-vertex, so therefore, we have vertical pod, no? Vertical. So, sa ato ang co-vertex, ang y coordinates nato ang atong plusan og minusan og distance b. So, we'll have 0 and 0 plus minus 2, which is again the distance b. So, we'll have CV sub 1, that is 0 and positive 2. And we have CV sub 2, that is 0 and negative 2. Okay, nanatay vertex and vertices and co-vertices. Okay, next, for our foci, for F, foci. Okay, before ta makapangita sa coordinates of foci, we have to solve for the distance C, no? So, distance C, again, we have C that is equals to the square root of A squared minus B squared. Okay, or this is equals to the square root of our A, which is 5 squared, we have 25, minus our B, which is 2. 2 squared, we have 4. So, we have 25 minus 4. That is equals to 21. We have square root of 21, or approximately, we have square root of 21. That is approximately 4.6. Okay, we have 4.6. Okay, so we now have the distance C, which is 4.6 or square root of 21 or 4.6. So again, our ellipse is a horizontal ellipse. Therefore, the foci will also be horizontal ang ilang alignment. So since alignment nila is horizontal, therefore for our center, which is located at 0 and 0, ang x coordinates ang ato ang adan og minusan og 4.6. So we'll have 0 plus minus 4.6 and 0. We have f sub 1, that is 4.6 and 0. And f sub 2, which is negative 4.6 and 0. So, nanatay foci. Okay, next, ang kulang nato will be the EPLR. So, for EPLR, okay, we have the distance B squared over A. This is equals to our B, which is 4, 2 squared. We have 4 over our A, which is 5. Okay, we have 4 divided by 5, that is 0.8. So we have 0.8. Okay, so since again our ellipse is horizontal, therefore our EPLR will be vertical. So from the focus, ang y coordinates ang plusan ug minusan nato og 0.8. So for the first focus, we have 4.6 and 0. For the first, we'll have 4.6 and 0 plus minus 0.8. So the first endpoint will be 4.6 and positive 0.8. We also have 4.6 and negative 0.8. Okay. Next, for our f sub 2, we have negative 4.6 and 0. Again, y coordinates ang plusan ug minusan. We'll have negative 4.6 and 0 plus minus 0.8. Okay, bulago na to, we'll have negative 4.6 and positive 0.8. And we also have negative 4.6 and negative 0.8. Okay, so mana ni siya ang atoang mga points. Okay, since kumpleto naman ang atoang points, then we'll have to plot the points para ma-sketch na nato ang graph sa atoang ellipse. So ang first point nato will be our center, which is at 0 and 0. So 0 and 0 is at the origin. This will be our center. Next, we also have our vertices. We have positive 5 and 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is V sub 1. We also have our V sub 2, which is negative 5 and 0. So from the origin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is negative 5 and 0, or we have V sub 2. We also have our co-vertex, which is located at 0 and 2. So 0 and 1, 2, we have kani. So this is F sub, I mean CV sub 1. We also have our CV sub 2, co-vertex 2. We have 0 and negative 2. So 0 and 1, 2, negative 2. Wait, negative 2. Kani. This is CV sub 2. We also have our foci. Focus 1, we have 4.6 and 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 0.6, that would be between 4 and 5, no? So approximately nadere. Okay, this will be our F sub, taas na lang. We have f sub 1. We also have our f sub 2. We have negative 4.6 and 0. So we have negative 4.6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, between. So, this will be our f sub 2. Okay, next, we also have our endpoints of latus rectum, EPLR. We have positive 4.6 and positive 0.8. So, 0.8 approximately kene. Diri na lang. F sub 1. And then, we also have 4.6 and negative 0.8 sa baba pod. Okay, so, dire. Align bang tulo? Wala, straight. Straight na to. Okay, next, we also have negative 4.6 and 0.8. So, approximately na dire. Again, this is f sub 2. We also have negative 4.6 and negative 0.8. Okay, na dire. Okay, so those are the points for our ellipse. Pwede na nato sila i-connect. So, from V sub 1 or the first vertex to CV sub 1. Okay, pababa. Balik dito. Okay, so this will be the graph of our ellipse. So, horizontal jud siya. For our second example, we have the given 9x squared plus 16y squared minus 54x plus 64y plus 1 that is equals to 0. So, if ingani gani ang given class, okay, ang first step is to, again, transpose the constant, the right side, and group the x-related terms and y-related terms. So, this equation becomes, we have 9x squared, we have minus 54x, we have plus, we have 16y squared, plus 64y. This is equals to transpose plus 1 becomes negative 1. So, again, si 9x squared o minus 54x, gigrupo. We have 16y squared plus 64y, gigrupo. And then si constant, get transpose sa pikas. Okay, next is to factor out whatever the term or the coefficient of the squared term. So, say for example, direct kay x squared, we have 9. Factor out lang nato si 9. So, we'll have 9 times, we have 9x squared divided by 9, that is x squared, minus 54x divided by 9, we have 6x, plus, direpod, we have coefficient of the term na naka-squared. So, y squared, we have 16. So, factor out si 16. We have 16 times, 16 y squared divided by 16, that is y squared, plus 64y divided by 16, that would be 4y. This is equals to negative 1. Okay, next, we have to perform completing the square from the group katong nasa sulod sa parenthesis. So, we'll have 9 times x squared minus, we have 6x plus, okay, completing the square, we have 6 na term. That is 6 divided by 2, we have 3. So, we'll have 3 squared plus 16 times y squared plus 4y plus, completing the square, we have 4 divided by 2, that is 2. So, we'll have 2 squared This is equals to negative 1. So, since nag-add man ta dire, i-times nato siya sa gawas. So, we'll have plus 9 times 3 squared. Okay, kani? Because again, naamantay number sa gawas, which is katong gi-factor out nato. So, ang gi-add nato dire, naka-times lang ani. So, we have 9 times 3 over 2. Plus, same with dire, we have 16 times 2 squared. So, we have 16 times 2 squared. Okay, next. Kaning naka-group nga term, transform this into square of binomial. So, copy nato tong constant sa gawas. So, we have 9 times root of x squared. We have x. Operation, we have minus. Root of 3 squared, we have 3 squared. Plus 16 times root of our y squared, we have y. Operation, we have plus. And then root of 2 squared, we have 2 squared. This is equals to, we have negative 1 plus 9 times 3 squared plus 16 times 2 squared. We have 144. Okay, next step, since nakasimplify naman ni sila, next step is to divide all terms by 144 para 1 na lang ang nadire. So, divide 144, kini, i-divide og 144, same with kini, 144. So, we have 9 divided by 144, that is 1 over 16, times x minus 3 squared will have x minus 3 squared over 16. Plus, we have 16 times quantity of y plus 2 squared divided by 144, that will be y plus 2 squared all over 9. This is equals to, this is 1. So, we have 1. Okay, wala na tayo ma-simplify. Therefore, this will be our final answer. Okay, so the standard form of equation of an ellipse which has the general form of 9x squared plus 16y squared minus 54x plus 64y plus 1 that is equals to 0 is quantity of x minus 3 squared over 16 plus quantity of y plus 2 squared over 9 that is equals to 1. So, mo ni ang iyahang standard form of equation. Okay, so since na-determine na nato ang standard form of equation of the ellipse, ang next step is to graph our ellipse. But before we graph, of course, pangitawon sa nato tanang points na kailangan to graph, to sketch the graph of our ellipse. So again, kung natay standard equation, ang first nato mahibalaan na point will be the center. We also have the values of our distance A and distance B. So in this case, again, the standard form, we have quantity of x minus 3 squared over 16 plus quantity of y plus 2 squared over 9 that is equals to 1. So ang h and k nato, okay, we have of course ang h is the partner of our variable x, and then ang k nato is the partner of the variable y. So we have x minus 3, kung minus na dire, we'll have positive 3. Okay, kung plus na siya, we'll have negative, but since minus man ta, so we'll have positive 3. For our k, we have y plus 2, so plus 1, therefore our k will be negative 2. So nanatay center. Next, our distance A and B. So again, A is always greater than B, therefore A squared is greater than B squared. So kung tan-aw na to, asa ang mas dako na denominator, will have 16 because 16 is greater than 9. So 16 will be our A squared. So to find for the value of A, square root lang nato si 16. So we'll have square root of 16, that will be equal to 4. Next, kay B, we have B squared, that is equals to 9. To get the value of B, square root lang nato si 9, that would be equal to 3. So, nanatay distance A and B. So, we can now get the coordinates of our vertices and co-vertices. So for vertices, okay, we have again center at 3 and negative 2. And we also have the distance A that is equals to 4. Now, i-determine sa nato kung ang ato abang ellipse is horizontal or vertical. So, by the equation, since x term, again, ang naay mas dako na denominator, so ang iyang denominator is the a squared, therefore, our ellipse is horizontal. No? Horizontal. So, since horizontal man siya, for our vertices, dapat ang alignment po niya is horizontal pod. So, since horizontal man, x term or x coordinate ang ato ang plusan o minusan o distance A. So, we'll have 3 plus minus 4, distance A, and we have negative 2. Or we have v sub 1, that is 3 plus 4, we have 7 and negative 2. And we also have v sub 2, we have 3 minus 4, that is negative 1 and negative 2. So, nanatay vertices. Okay, nanatay vertices. Next, CV na sadta, our co-vertex. So, for CV. Okay, so again, we have the center at 3 and negative 2. And we also have the distance B that is equals to 3. So, since horizontal man ang atuang ellipse, therefore, ang atuang CV will be vertical. No? Katong minor axis, vertical. So, ang alignment sa atuang co-vertices will be also vertical. So, since vertical man siya, ang adan o subtractan or ang plusan o minusan nato o distance B will be our y coordinates. So, coordinate. So, we'll have 3 and negative 2 plus minus 3. So, we'll have CV sub 1, that is 3, and negative 2 plus 3, that is positive 1. And CV sub 2 will have 3 and negative 2 minus 3, that is negative 5. So, nanatay co-vertex. Okay, next. Foci. Okay, for foci, for F, again, we have to determine first our distance C. So, the formula for distance C, we have C that is equals to the square root of A squared minus B squared. Or this is equals to the square root of our A, which is 4. So, we'll have 4 squared. We have 16. Minus our B, which is 3. 3 squared, that is 9. This is equals to the square root of 16 minus 9, square root of 7. Okay, or this is square root of 7. Okay, we'll have approximately 2.7. So, this is approximately 2.7. So, the distance or the focal distance will be 2.7, no? Okay, next. For foci, we have center at 3 and negative 2. Again, since horizontal man ang atuang ellipse, therefore, ang alignment po sa atuang foci will be horizontal. So, ang adan or ang plaza natog minusan for ang adan og minusan natog distance will be our x coordinates. So, we'll have 3 plus minus 2.7 and negative 2. Or we have f sub 1, that is 3 plus 2.7. We have 5.7 and negative 2. We have f sub 2, that is 3 minus 2.7. That is 0.3 and negative 2. Okay, so that will be our foci. Okay, next, ang kulang na lang nato will be the EPLR. So, for EPLR, again, we have the distance B squared over A. This is equals to our B, which is 3. We'll have 9, because 3 squared is equals to 9. All over our A, which is equals to 4. This is equals to 2.25. Okay. So, for our EPLR, again, since horizontal man ang ato ang ellipse, therefore, our lateral recta will be vertical. So, since vertical man sila, then y coordinates ang ato ang plusan ug minusan og 2.25. So, for our f sub 1, again, we have 5.7 and negative 2. Okay, so si negative 2 ang plusan ug minusan og 2.25. So, we'll have 5.7 and negative 2 plus minus 2.25. So, we have 5.7 and negative 2 plus 2.25. That would be 0.25. We also have 5.7 and negative 2 minus 2.25. That would be negative 4.25. Okay, next we have f sub 2. That is 0.3 and negative 2. Again, y coordinates ang ato ang plusan ug minusan. So, we'll have 0.3 and negative 2 plus minus 2.25. So, we have 0.3 and we have 0.25 and we also have 0.3 and negative 4.25. Okay, so these are our endpoints of latus rectum or latera recta kay duhaman. Okay, since kompleto naman ang ato ang points, therefore, pwede na ta magsugod og plot so that we can now sketch the graph of our ellipse. So, ang first nato i-plot, of course, that will be our center, which is located at 3 and negative 2. So, we have positive 3, 1, 2, 3, and negative 2, 1, 2. So, therefore, naa diri ang ato ang center. So, this is our center. Next, we also have our vertices. So, V sub 1, we have positive 7 and negative 2. So, positive 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. Okay. So, nadere. Okay, this is V sub 1. Okay, next we also have our V sub 2, which is negative 1 and negative 2. So, negative 1 and negative 2. Kine, this is V sub 2. We also have our CV or our co-vertex or co-vertices. CV sub 1, we have positive 3 and 1. So, we have 1, 2, 3, and 1. So, nadere. Okay, this is CV sub 1. CV sub 1. Okay, next, for our CV sub 2, we have 3 and negative 5. So, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, nadere. Okay, this is CV sub 2. We also have our foci, which is F sub 1, we have 5.7 and negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.7. Dol-dol siya kay 6. So, approximately, ni siya. Okay, this is F sub 1. Yes, F sub 1. Okay, next, we also have F sub 2, 0.3 and negative 2. 0.3, dol-dol kay 0. So, kani. This is F sub 2. We also have our EPLR or endpoints of our lateral recta. We have 5.7 and 0.25. So, 5.7 and 0.25. So, dool-dool siya kay 0. So, approximately kani. We also have 5.7 and 4.25. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And lapas siya gamay kay 4. So, kani. Approximately. And we also have 0.3 and 0.25. So, 0.3, dool-dool lang siya kay 0. And then, 0.25, dool-dool lang yapon. So, approximately, kani. We also have 0.3 and 4, negative 4.25. So 1, 2, 3, 4.25 lapas kamay. Kana. Okay, so these are the points of our ellipse. So since kompleto naman, pwede na nato i-connect. So from vertex 1 to CV, okay, we have CV sub 1. Okay, vertex 2, pabalik. Okay, so assuming na lang no nga perfect na siya nga kuan. Perfect, tawag ani, perfect ellipse. So, mo ni ang graph sa ato ang ellipse.